The Sheldon's mission is to collect and interpret and display American art. And these new acquisitions are all 20th century African American. And we are calling this concentration an African American Masters Collection. What we've acquired now are 4 prints from 1926 illustrating the play by Eugene O'Neill called Emperor Jones. And these are artist proofs, so they were printed by the artist himself, so they're really quite stunning. He is a graduate of our university. In fact, he is the first African American to graduate from the art program here in 1922. And beyond that, of course, he is considered a kind of founder or father of African American modernism. He became a star in the Harlem Renaissance. But if you put these two things together, an historically important American artist who graduated from our campus, this is a cause for celebration. He is an artist we want to collect. He is an artist we should be making much of on this campus in the way that we make much of Willa Cather. What we bought was a portrait that she painted around 1938 when she was in Paris studying. Part of the history of American art that we want to recover are movements by artists to Europe, to Latin America. They come back to the United States and they bring those influences with them. That's part of my interest in looking at our collection through a transnational perspective. And so Lois Mailou Jones does that to some extent. And I've seen Lois Mailou Jones's work quite a bit when I was a curator at the Studio Museum in Harlem, and I actually met her before she passed away in 1998. And I have to say, this is the most beautiful painting of hers I have ever seen. We were in competition with the biggest museums in the country. And the 2 biggest winners in that auction were the Boston MFA and the Sheldon Museum of Art. And we got this one. And it really speaks to the time in the 1940s when African American civil rights initiatives began, when there were cases that tested the legalities of Jim Crow segregation. Another work that could be considered really among the star acquisitions of this round would be Jacob Lawrence's prints called 8 Passages. And 8 Passages refers to 8 passages from the book of Genesis in the King James Version of the Bible. Each print is illustrated with a preacher before a congregation, very dramatically posed. And you see the activity of this creation taking place just outside the windows of the congregation. This is a piece from the 1960s, and it's a rare piece simply because not many of these paintings exist anymore. He destroyed quite a number of them by cutting them up and recycling them into new paintings that were more constructivist in mode. So this one has been preserved because it was bought early on. Elizabeth Catlett is really the only living artist among the artists we collected this time. She is probably 92 years old, and she lives in Cuernavaca, Mexico. She is an African-American artist who traveled, again, another movement of African-American modernists who went to Mexico this time to study with the major figures there, the muralist Diego Rivera, Orozco, and Siqueiros. What we acquired from her was a work of sculpture called Pensive Figure, dated from 1968. And there aren't too many figures in sculpture involving women and thinking. And then when you think about 1968 and the importance to African Americans of that time, that period in the 1960s, it gives us something to think about.